Hey, True Believers, Chris Mack coming at you today with an awesome action figure. We are going over the Marvel Legends Warlock Build-A-Figure Wave Shatterstar. Now, I know this is an older figure, but I've been reading the latter half of New Mutants and the 90s X-Force, and I just forgot how much of an awesome character he is, so I wanted to go over him. Now, if you do want to pick him up, because he's an older figure, he's a little bit harder to get now. He's not available on any of the regular spots like Big Bad Toy Store or Dorkside Toys, etc., but I did see that he is available on DMW All Things Marvel, so at least there's an option online. But first and foremost, please, if you do have a local comic shop, support them and see if you can pick up the figure first. Now, I love that little X-Men logo there. That looks cool. Shatterstar there, Warlock there, Marvel Legends there. Now let's go around to the side, and I love this artist's rendition because Shatterstar was born on Mojo World, so he was raised to be a warrior and to survive, and I feel like this captures his power very well, so wonderful work. Come around to the back, you get a really neat product shot. I love that muted smoke, just really cool look, makes it you really want to get the figure out. There's a read up, I'll make sure you pause it close up so you guys can get it at your convenience. Same with the figures from the wave, so I'll get a close up so you can pause it again and read. Look at the ones you need to build this wave. Come back around here to the side, and again, there's that wonderful rendition. If you all know who the artist was that did this, let me know down in the comments because I'd like to see more of their work. Come around here to the front, go over the figure in a minute. Nice varnish X logo there. Legal on the bottom, who cares? But what we do care about is Shatterstar a cool action figure or not? So let's go ahead and crack him open and get a closer look at him. And here's Shatterstar out of the packaging and just looks absolutely fantastic. This is, in my personal opinion, nigh comic book accurate. I'm so glad to have an early 90s X-Force looking Shatterstar, because I know later down the road he has like a trench coat and it just does not have the same appeal as this look right here. So now we've had a moment to just kind of see him in all his glory. Let's go ahead and get him off the spinner and take a closer look at this figure. Shatterstar's first appearance was back in March of 1991 in New Mutants number 99. And I've found, as the years have passed, that book is getting harder and harder to find. So is a first printing of New Mutants 100. Shatterstar comes from the Mojoverse, where he grew up as basically a slave fighting on Mojo's programming. If you guys haven't read a lot about Mojo, make sure to check out the Jim Lee era and Fabian Nicieza era of X-Men in the 90s, because I think that's where Mojo was introduced. I'm not 100% sure. Feel free to make fun of me down in the comments below. He was created by Fabian Nicieza and Rob Liefeld, and he's still to this day one of my most favorite characters. The idea was he was sent to Earth to recruit the X-Men to defeat Mojo, but it has to do something with time travel, and he was sent too far back to the point where Cable had not recruited X-Force yet. So that's how he kind of became a staple of the team. And when he first came, he was battle-hardened, very kind of bitterish, and he was very standoffish, but he respected Cable something fierce because of his militaristic background. And it made for some really interesting reading. So make sure to check out those latter New Mutants and early X-Force. It was great stuff. Now, this latter part, I'm not 100% sure on. You guys feel free to help me out down in the comments. But is he supposed to be the biological, or was he the test tube child of Dazzler and Longshot? That's something that's always been talked about, but I've not been able to confirm if that's 100%. So some interesting takes there. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Now, for the accessories that Longshot comes with, he comes with his trademark swords that you always see in the comics. And there he goes. We're just going to go ahead and let him rest. They both kind of look the same. They kind of got that nice semi-gunmetal looking gray on it. I think they look great. I love the way they shimmer. I'm just all sorts of fumbles today. And I love the hand guards here. I love those spikes. And of course, because these are sold in regular department stores, these can't be sharp for obvious reasons. But just think about getting punched in the face with that. No, thank you. And the same here, the blades are kind of pointy, but not enough that it's going to hurt. These things are pretty bendable. Now, His trademark one, as we can see, this is just a regular blade one, which is cool. But his trademark one has always been the double blade. And this thing, when you first get it out of the packaging, it's going to be smashed together like that. What I did is my best is I tried to heat it up. And after it was heated up, I put something in between there and just let it kind of cool off. And then at least let the blade open up a little bit. So if you guys know how to do that, go for it. You can either use hot water, hair dryer, or I use a space heater. And if you don't know how to do it, don't mess with it because you don't want to melt it. If you know a friend, have them do it for you. But yeah, the metal, the gray to make that metal on here looks really nice. Handles are really great. So I really like these accessories. These are the only two things that Shatterstar comes with, and I'm really thankful for them because they are staples of what he was back in the day. Now, as for the figure, this was his look way back when. I know now he wears a trench coat, and it just does not have the same feel as where this just had a really unique look about it. Now for the head, one thing I wish that Hasbro would have done, as you can see here, I wish his headband, I wish they would have either lessened this or pushed it further up on the head because it's really hard to see them eyes because one of his eyes here is gold, as you can kind of see in the light. Let me try to get a better focus on that. Focus! But yeah, it has that really nice gold, and if this wasn't in the way, that would shine so much better. And I like how the tattoo on his eye matches his logo. That's really cool. His other eye has that nice blue look, as you can kind of see. That headband's a real pain in the butt to get around. But yeah, this was a headband that he wore because obviously he's a soldier, so he's always fighting, so this was his headgear. And I like how they make it look battle weathered. So, you know, it has that nice brown with some black wash and dark browns, light browns to really show that it's been through the ringer, nice and banged up. I like the hair, that orange kind of reddish look to it looks really pretty, wow, pretty. You can tell I've not had enough coffee this morning. But yeah, that orange just looks really good. I like that. You know, you don't need any more type of dry brushing. I think just leaving it alone as it is looks good, especially the braids. And then, of course, his little cape, I think was always neat. I personally, since they kind of have all the leather-looking battle damage, I think it'd been kind of cool to put some black wash in here. But nonetheless, you get it shadowed or, you know, lit properly, you can get some good shadows casting on there and get that nice black look. On the shoulder pads, so, you know, you get a karate chop. He's protected. Same thing with his headband where you get that brown with a little bit of black wash and dark brown wash. And I like that there's obvious battle damage on it. That's always a plus for me. See how it looks where you can actually see dings where swords or whatever, but of course there's extra padding. That's why he wears it, which makes you wonder why he doesn't wear one on this side. But c'est la vie. It was the 90s. Things were just to look cool. But yeah, those little skid marks, or oh my, the slash marks look great. The white overall, you'd think that's be too much, but his character in the comics, that's part of it. Looks good all the way through. That black on his pants really helps kind of offset it. His skin tone color looks good. There's no, you know, it doesn't look too pale, doesn't look too dark. Same thing with the molding on the face. Lips look good, nose looks good, everything looks great there. And then of course, like with the belt, just like with the shoulder pad and the head thing, has that nice black wash. The silver buckle looks nice, goes all the way through. Love that. And because it was the 90s, pockets everywhere. And for whatever reason, that just made it look cool. It always reminds me of like a Batman utility belt, so I'm okay with that. These, however, I wish Hasbro would learn to stop making them loose, because there's times when you're trying to set up a pose and you get everything ready, and then it goes, boop, just like with Havoc, Cyclops. So, you know, if you don't mind customizing your figures, because, you know, when you customize them, sometimes it can lose its value. You can always super glue that, but I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to leave it be and just suffer the consequences. As I just said, I love the black. The one thing on the legs that drive me nuts is that. I wish they would have put that maybe like under the cape or somewhere here on his back where it's hidden, because that's just obvious. So when you're trying to do a shot, that's going to get in the way, and you're just like, oh man, come on. So that's a little frustrating. I'm glad that a lot of the later characters don't have that on there. The gloves are nice. I like the way it kind of has that nice V gap to make it look like he's fancy. And of course, they kind of darken it up and put the ripples in the gloves, so that looks awesome. It makes sure it look nice and organic. It doesn't look like the old action figures or everything looks like it was just painted on. I like that they took the time to add ripples and whatnot. Same thing with the cape. See how there's those nice little ripples in there, so the light hits it. You can see where the differentiation comes from. I think that's great. Same thing with the boots. I like that dark gray that splits down the middle. The darkish gray here just really kind of helps set the figure overall. And look at how the ripples go, where everything starts to go down into the foot. Great stuff there. He does have peg holes. And see how they put the legal stuff here on the bottom? I wish they would have stamped something like that. So overall, paint apps are good. I wish that they would have done something with the headband. That's probably the one thing I can forgive, because nonetheless, still a great figure. This doesn't bother me so much as that does. So paint apps, he looks great, looks natural. Really love the way he's looking. For an older Legends figure, Shatterstar is surprisingly very well articulated. So let's go ahead and start with the head. He can look down that much, which is not bad. And he can kind of, that's about as far, but at least he's looking up. At least you can see his point of his line of vision is up, as where some just don't even go. So that's good. He has a little bit of a head rocker, so you can kind of play with that a little bit to try to get it further up if you want. You can look that way, that much, that way, that much, and you can go all the way around, but as I've said in past reviews, I don't like to do that because I don't want to snap it. So that ball joint really helps with a lot of head articulation, so that's awesome. And feel free to make fun of me for how many times I say so, because I'm trying to stop that. His arms can go up that much, and of course if you spin, get his leg out of the way, that, which mine likes to be a little bit of a turd. I'm glad that they made this shoulder pad semi-flappable, so you can at least get his arm up that side that much, and of course this one goes all the way up, but I'm glad for that, so you get at least a little bit of clearance, so I'm very thankful for that. Try to get this arm twisted back down. He does have the upper bicep swivel, and then this is what I'm surprised with, this being an older Legends figure. Double jointed elbows, so it's like, how come this was hit and miss with certain figures back in the day, as where now it's kind of becoming a staple, thankfully. So I don't know, but I'm just like, yes, very cool. And sadly, his wrist does not bend there, but his hands do go 360. So whew. Same thing with the wrist, where I can go, excuse me, down that much, up that much. Ab crunch can go about that much, not bad. Same thing with the back, very cool. And then he, of course, does spin that way. That way. Legs can go up that much. Oh, with the flappy. No more flappy. He can kick out 90 degrees. Very cool. And then, of course, his butt kind of stops everything. So at least you can get a little bit of movement there. And then, check this out for an older Legend figure. Double jointed knees. Why? Why was it so hit and miss back in the day? This is perfect. This is what we want. So yeah, that's just like, darn. Upper thigh cut. He does have a boot cut. You just have to kind of play with it a little bit. Now, one thing I will say, and I've said this many times before you start articulating your figure, please warm them up, whether it be, as I said, water, hot water, hair dryer, space heater, whatever you have. Warm them up, let them cool off a little bit, and then start posing them, because sometimes right out of the box, they're stiff and they could snap. And yeah, you're not going to have a good time, to quote South Park. And then his feet go up about that much and down about that much. And then, of course, ankle pivots. So for an older figure, look at how well articulated Shatterstar is. And as they say in the $6 Million Man, we had the technology. So I don't know why back in the day, why some had double jointed joints and then others didn't. I don't know if it was a budget thing when they were first starting out with this line, but yeah, as you can see, Shatterstar, articulation, oh yeah. Here's Shatterstar next to the rest of the X-Force team that has currently been released, and we will eventually go over the rest of these figures. The newest ones are Sunspot and Warpath. The latter ones that have come out were Boom Boom, Cannonball, Domino, and Cable. I believe these two came out in the same line, and I'm not sure about these two. They kind of start to blur together, so feel free to set me straight down in the comments. But as you can see, we finally start to get that 90s X-Force team together, and they just look absolutely beautiful to, posed next to one another. I do wish that they would have given Cannonball those legs. If y'all have any of one of those modded Cannonballs with the Paladin legs, let me know, hit me up and see what we can do, because I would love to have one of those, because I do not want to alter the one I have, because I do a little bit of modifications, but not enough to want to bust him off the stand and then take a chance of breaking him, because a lot of these older figures are getting harder to find. So, I mean, you can still find the Sunspot and Warpath in stores, but the rest of them, not so much. You're just going to have to get lucky either in online auctions or at a comic shop or the secondary market. But as you can see, because they're all part of the Hasbro Marvel Legends line, they scale very well together. I mean, Cable stands probably a little bit as tall as Warpath, but I have him in a crouching shooting position. And yeah, I am one happy camper to finally start seeing this X-Force team come together. I can't wait until they release a Feral. That will set it off, and then later down the road, they recruited Richter and Siren, so it'd be kind of cool to start seeing those two as part of this team as well. But right now, I know all of us are biting at the bit for a Feral. And because they released that Danny Moonstar, that, what was it? Was it a Walgreens exclusive? Yeah. And they gave you the heads to swap out, what's her name? Karma and Wolfsbane. It'd be kind of neat to see some old school New Mutant versions of Sunspot and Cannonball as well, so we can kind of start getting that old Chris Claremont nostalgia feel as well, and an older Ileana. But we'll get into that another time. But I just want to sit here and gush at how cool this X-Force team is starting to become. Hasbro, if you're listening, please give us a Feral and then a Siren and a Richter, and we will all be happy X-Men fans. This figure to me is perfect. Now, I know there's other more awesome Marvel Legend figures, but in terms of Shatterstar, this being comic accurate to the original 90s comic books, and the articulation for an earlier figure, I definitely want to give this a 10 out of 10, but I will give it a 9.5 out of 10. The only thing that kind of bugs me is because they put the legal information on the back of his thigh. I wish they would have put that maybe under his cape or on the bottom of his foot, but just kind of seen it glare as it comes back around. We'll point it out. Hold on real quick. See how it just kind of glares and it points out. So that's the figure itself, not that's fault. That was just Hasbro's bad for being like, hey, let's stamp it where it's obvious for everyone else. But other than that, guys, absolutely gorgeous figure. I'm glad to finally be able to start building my X-Force team. And, I've seen people pass this figure up. And if you have, guys, if you're an X-Force fan like I am, you want this figure, I assure you. So with that said, if you have enjoyed seeing Shatterstar, please first and foremost check with your local comic shop and see if they can get this figure in stock for you. And if you've enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate it if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you can possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little X bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified and come to the channel. And we love to hear your feedback and just talk with y'all down in the comments below or on our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description below. So with all that said, photo slideshow coming up next, and I hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.